Hi, Anand Sheela. Welcome to episode 9 of The Atman Show. And I'm so excited that you are on my show. And this is the first time I'm talking to such a big celebrity. And my viewers are so excited. And I know you need no introduction if anyone has seen Wild Wild Country from Netflix. But please, for our viewers' sake, go ahead and introduce yourself. Just a brief introduction is fine.
I don't have to introduce myself. Anamika, you have done it well.
Okay.
So we can begin.
Okay. All right. So I will straight go to your book and read some of the. Okay. First of all, like I just want to know that I read in the book that the name Ma Anand Sheela was given by Osho to you. Is that correct?
That's right. My birth name was Sheila, and Bhagwan added Ma Anand Sheela.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to read one thing from your book. He says, he talked to me openly about death. He explained that we were lucky to see death hover over our heads. Death is a part of life, but most people forget it. He said they don't want to know anything about it, but we were in a situation where it is impossible to ignore death. So, and he also said that we should expect it joyfully, like a lover, rather than encountering it with despair. I know in the beginning, like in the beginning of your life itself, you had a husband that you had to face death. So, do you think that being in touch with Osho and with his teaching? Encountering such kind of adversity was helpful to you, or how did you deal with death?
The crisis of death, I had dealt with it the way I felt correct as a young girl. When I told my first husband, Chinmaya, when he declared his love for me and I declared my love for him, he said, but our relationship cannot progress as I have only 1.5 years to live to 2 years because of his Hodgkin's disease. And I then reacted or responded to him by saying, would you want me to have security of long years with somebody whom I don't love? Or would you want me to have 1.5 to 2 beautiful years in love? And we both were into logic. And then, of course, the logic says clearly 1.5 to 2 years is happily living is much more than century of living with somebody whom you don't live, whom you don't love. So that was my approach to Chinmaya's death situation. And then I come across this wise man, Bhagwan, and I told him how I felt. And he said, you have something to celebrate because death is hanging over both of your necks, and announced itself that it is there, possible, where we all are going to die someday. But in process of life, we forget the death hanging over our necks. Plus, by that time, we hang on to the life and we avoid death. So for me, it was an added bonus to meet Bhagwan and to hear his point of view on death. And it is the same thing that I work with my patient here, with offering them the best possible last years of their life with me, that one can overcome the fear of death.
Very nice.
In my work.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know if I answered your
Yes, yes,
question.
yes, yes. So another thing I want to ask, like, in Osho's Rajneesh Ashram, you had mentioned that there are like some dynamic meditation and there are 5 stages of it. So you think that Osho had developed on its own, or he leveraged from somewhere else, or it is his own teaching of doing meditation?
Dynamic meditation was Bhagwan's own creation.
Okay.
It was his own understanding how one can awaken the energy that stores under the navel,
Okay.
and how one can channelize that energy. And there he had created this method or this exercise, however way you want to say it, to provoke your own energy into creativity.
Okay, so one other thing I want to ask you, like, when Osho has very different view on marriage. Like whenever I have read any book or any YouTube and anything, but I saw that you got married inside the ashram, inside the Rajneeshpuram. So what are your views on marriage? But Osho talks that he doesn't believe in marriage, but you got married and many other people got married. So what are your views on marriage, and can you, elaborate on that one?
I was married before I met Bhagwan.
Okay.
When I met him at the age of 21, I was already married. And I was married to my first husband, Chinmaya, whom we just spoke about his illness.
Okay.
But Bhagwan's views are pretty similar to my views about marriage. Of course, I'm Bhagwan's disciple also, and I heard him for years, living with him for 14 years. So I'm fully aware of his non-compliance for the Institute of Marriage.
Yes.
And logically, it makes sense also to me. Today, if somebody tells me to get married, I would not do it. Because freedom, individual freedom, is at the top of the line. And marriage, somehow, even if you have a free relationship, you have to compromise in certain ways to live harmonious life. Bhagwan said, marriage is a prison. And I can good think and feel that marriage is a freedom, marriage is a prison. and to live freely, to exercise your own feelings, your own being in free way, to have somebody tied down to you would not work. It is a contradiction.
So, but you know,
The problem is also many marriages these days, within a short time of togetherness, break down. And one of the major reasons of the breakdown, both feel unfulfilled in this institute of marriage.
okay.
Their expectations are not fulfilled, and life becomes burdensome together.
Okay, but I want to ask you one thing, like, then what about the kids? Like the kids need mom and dad, right? So what happens there?
Kids need mom and dad, but not the marriage of mom and dad.
Yeah. Very true. I like this answer.
They need mom and dad who equally love them in their freedom. Kids also need to know and learn about individual freedom. Then they can develop their character. If children are brought up in a broken home where everyday argument, fights, unhappiness, we are not helping them in any form or shape. We offer them depression then instead of mom and dad. Or I would say we offer them broken mom, broken dad, plus depression. And that is more harmful in my eyes. But if mom and dad make understanding that we are equal sharer of our children and respect each other for their role, then children will be more benefited.
It's a good answer. Thank you. And also, like, you know, I feel that this whole episode of Rajneesh Puram, you know, from Pune to all the way to Oregon, do you think that you as a person was a rebel in the society? And I like rebel. I admire rebel because I feel in my own way, I'm a little small rebel, but not like you. But do you think you were a rebel in the society for that era?
I'm a rebel since I was born, I assume, because it is so dear and near to my heart to say what I feel and be as I feel. And I say to the world, be yourself. Little, small, big, doesn't matter. But say your truth, say your heart to the world in all honesty. And be true to yourself. Don't imitate anybody. Don't be influenced by others. Of course, take the good things that attract you to the others and put it in application in your life. What you find valuable in others, by all means, adopt it. But just to copy others without any feeling don't do it. It just kills your character. I can give you a simple example. Fashion, clothes fashion. People copy one another without looking in the mirror. Does it suit the clothing that I'm wearing? Does that at all enhances my being or my looks? People just wear it because it is fashion. And they're so uncomfortable. Don't do that. Take a second look at yourself. What does it mean by taking a second look at yourself? Respect yourself. Re-inspect. Second look means respect.
Okay.
And respect yourself, you will recognize what passes your feeling, what enhances your character. So for me, it is important to be yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Okay. Moving on to something else. So he said he tried to enforce this purpose even through our clothing. After our initiation into sannyasa, we could wear only the color of the sunrise. That served to remind us that we were a part of growth process on our journey into our inner world that were no longer ordinary. So when you were in Rajneesh Puran, you had to follow certain schedule and certain dress code. So, what was the reason of dress code? But Osho says you should be free, you can do everything. But what was the reason of enforcing a dress code and following a schedule and things like that?
What you read, I say the reason also in it,
Yeah.
which is to remind us that we are moving toward a different journey of life. We are conscious now of processing towards consciousness. We are making a break of the regular mundane life and entering into a realm of a new thought processes. So when we wear orange colors, it represents, signifies the colors of rising sun. And we are in journey of rising in our consciousness.
Okay.
So that is the symbolism. Talk of freedom and being part of a discipline.
Huh.
We went to Bhagwan from our free will, knowing well that there is a dress code. Now it is up to us. If we doesn't want to apply to a dress code, then we need not join him. But if we want to join him, if we want to be part of his establishment, then we wear the dress code that he has given. And it was never a burden for me. In
Okay.
fact, I felt most beautiful in those colors. Even today, I wear a lot of reds and maroons and pinks. Even today, I'm wearing, not knowing that you will ask me that question.
Okay, all right, all right. And yeah, all right. Okay, I
And they
understand.
suit me very well, these
Very well.
colors.
It's beautiful. All right. So another thing I said that, Bhagwan taught there is a synthesis between Zobra and Buddha. Zobra represents the earth and life, while Buddha stands for divine awareness. So do you think that his teachings, I also do Hinduism and Buddhism both. So I have a little bit of idea. So do you think that Bhagwan's teachings and discourse were quite inspired by Buddhism or something like that?
Zorba is a Greek
Okay,
dancer.
okay,
Uh, it was not related to Buddhism.
okay.
Zorba is the dancer who enjoys life fully.
Oh, okay.
And Buddha is, we all know, the great Buddha.
Yeah.
So what he says, we are the synthesis of life, the dancer, the ultimate dancer, and Buddha, the ultimate understanding of life. Cessation of duality. Buddha is the middle path.
Okay.
And until you have both in you, you are not complete.
Hmm. So you have to have life and understanding both. That's what you're saying.
Right. It is like life and death.
Uh-huh.
You cannot just have life, or you cannot just be morbid like death.
Okay. All right. Understand. So, okay, I'll read one more thing, but this might be a little controversial. This
Very good. I like it.
okay. So, a lot of people, the therapy groups were helped to release anger, hate, jealousy, sexual repressions, and other taboos that one learns and carries through life. Bhagwan thought that once a person is free from unpleasant feeling, one can move towards inward journey easily. So these group therapies were to remove all your bad qualities so that you can reintrospect yourself. Can you talk about these group therapies,
Yes. And it is not a controversial question. It is something to understand. The group therapies were founded in Western world for Western culture. Western culture, the sexuality was oppressed through Christianity. But it is the same situation all over the world. Sexuality has been tabooed one way or the another, and yet sexuality is promoted for reproduction purposes. We live in a society where we don't express our innermost feelings freely, openly. So we go on oppressing it. A simple example: a man goes to work, boss chews him up. He's angry with the boss, but he will not say anything to the boss, otherwise he will lose the job. If he loses the job, how will he pay his bills? And bills have to be paid at the end of the month. He goes home with a heavy feeling of anger towards the boss. He puts out that anger on his wife. Wife doesn't understand. What has she done that he has been giving this anger to her? So she takes it out on a child. Child is completely lost. Child takes it out on his doll or a dog, whatever is near. And we pile up anger, jealousy, competition, many negative feelings in ourselves. And through that, we become physically sick, mentally sick. So the New Age group therapies were to release these blockages of anger and violence in individual. And they are very, very rewarding. Bhagwan gave a new meaning to this new therapies, and he gave them a big push to bring them out in the world. And people don't understand the amount of violence we individuals carry within us, the negativity we carry, the jealousy we carry, competition we carry. And it is one way to free ourselves. It draws us back to ourselves for introspection.
I think Bhagwan's teachings was way ahead with the time, right? That is why in the end you have written that he was a misunderstood man and he's still a misunderstood man. So do you think these are the reasons that people did not understand his teaching, that's why he's misunderstood?
Bhagwan was ahead of his, way ahead of his time in his logic, his thinking, his understanding of human frailty and understanding of human potential. Mankind is afraid of most everything it doesn't know or have never experienced. And that fear focuses on misunderstanding the other. And our religions, our politics, our societies try to doctrinate us in only one way so that we behave and give them no heartache. And Bhagwan's purpose was to awaken us and remind us that we are individual, we have the freedom to be ourselves. And I must say, I'm one person who would advocate Bhagwan till my last breath.
Yeah. Okay. But in the between, I've even said Wild Wild Country and book and all that. You all fought in between, right? And then you left the Rajneeshpuram. Do you regret doing that? And is this like sometimes it is a need of the hour? and you should have been with Bhagwan till the end. Do you regret doing that?
No, no. My decision came not from regret. My decision came from the same love I had for him, and same love I have it today for him.
Okay.
It's the same strength that I got to build his city, the love that inspired me to manage his city and build his city. It is the same love pushed me out of there because my integrity I did not want to compromise. And I don't regret.
Okay.
And the way I live my life shows that I don't even have a drop of it in me or in my lifestyle. That is my decision to go out was the right decision for me. And there is a time comes where one has to move away from something that one loves, if necessary. It was necessary then.
Okay, so one last thing I want to ask, I hope you won't mind, like, this all these controversies, like 50 million, you took away, and then, someone tried to kill Osho in the ashram. Just a brief one, I don't want to dig too much deep. Can you tell to our viewers?
Viewers have to understand Bhagwan had a big following. No one had thought Sheela and Bhagwan are separable. And they thought correctly. Even today, you can't separate me from Bhagwan. It was a huge machine that we had created together, Rajnishpuram, who will believe that Sheela will leave Bhagwan. Even Sheela herself didn't believe it until it happened. And Bhagwan had to protect and hold his following. Easiest way to hold somebody is through negative gossip or negative accusation. It happens with many parting lovers, many divorces. And mine and Bhagwan's divorce was international.
It was on the news.
It was journalistic.
Till today, people talk about it.
After 45 years, So it has no relevance in my life what he said or how he accused or what he accused. It was his thing.
Or what people gossiped.
Yeah, and people are still engaging after so many years in it. It just shows that Bhagwan's therapies, they need to do it.
Yeah.
Bhagwan's meditation, they need to do it to
Yeah.
free themselves of their own negativity. I have nothing to say about it.
All right. Okay, Man and Sheila, it was a short and sweet conversation. I really enjoyed it. I hopefully we'll come back in another episode. And good luck and have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Anamika. And I want to tell my listener that you can join Anamika's podcast adventure. Did I say it right? Or
Yes, yes. Like, subscribe, share the adventure.
say it again.
Like, subscribe, share the adventure.
Okay. And I am on Instagram. If you have any questions, do write me. My Instagram goes under my name, Anand Sheela. And I do take time to reply to you. Maybe my replies are not long, but they are replies from my heart.
Okay.
Wish you all wonderful.
Hi, Man and Sheila. Thanks for
Hello, how are you?
good. Thanks for coming to the Admin Show episode 20. As we discussed in last episode when we met, Man and Sheila does not need any introduction. But yet, do you want to say something to my viewers of the Admin Show before we begin the interview?
I would say sit tight and enjoy.
Okay. All right. So today we will discuss about your book, by my own rules that you have written. And
Right.
so the first chapter is like, you say that pain cannot be avoided, pain has to be endured. So you said that it is what helped me deal with the darkness of 39 months in prison that I served under a plea agreement with US government.
Right. Now, can we move forward then the chapter of this darkness? Because through this darkness, I have managed to survive, go through it, and I have moved forward with it. So I am not suffering about this darkness, but the world is suffering. And I have no intention of spending more time on this theme.
You know,
So I think we have to tell our audience to move forward.
sure. All right. Everybody deserves a second chance. So, and like, even if someone has done really bad things, you still think that everybody deserves a second chance. And feelings are connected with intuition for me. And intuition is a process of the heart. I always listen to my intuition. So basically, intuition is your heart, right? So you listen to your heart and not your mind.
That's right. When I have gut feeling, when I feel something, then I must listen to my heart, because heart is a direct contact to my soul. And for me, it is a clarity. And then with the clarity, I move forward.
Okay.
Anamika.
So again, at the first question, back to the first question, like, do you think that everybody deserves a second chance, even if someone has done very bad things to you?
Everybody deserves a second chance. And I say everybody deserves first chance, second chance, third chance.
Oh.
I
So,
am a bit generous in this manner.
yeah. It's like you are saying that, oh, somebody did something, then we say, okay, let's stop talking to that person. Let's not do like that, right? Just be
No,
peaceful.
I mean, when somebody's talking and talking nonsense, then I don't have to justify. I don't have to support that kinds of useless nonsense.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you said that build your life on love, patience, and acceptance. All disease has its roots in isolation and loneliness and lack of love. Where there is love, which fosters patience and acceptance, there is bliss. Means like your work, through your work, you give love and company to the people who are lonely, right?
I live a life with people who have never received love in their life, or they have been deprived of company through their life setting. And for me, I help them to come out of their isolation. I help them to uh, motivate to acceptance of a situation that they are in or they may be in.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to accept life as it comes. So I really was moved by you said that I successfully launched a company and named it Anuja Impex. I ran it from my house in the afternoon. The risk I took in purchasing the fax machine paid off many times over. Now want to be a victim of my I did not want to be a victim of my circumstances and learn from all the situation. He would say, no one forced me to be with Bhagwan. No one forced me to leave Bhagwan. It was my choice. Now I had to face the consequence without complaining. Like, it's like whatever situation you are in, face it and face it with courage, right? That's what you.
Only
Hmm.
that is the only way you can be above the situation. You can remain objective then and move forward. I feel this life is so precious and you have to make most of it. To make most of it, you have to come out of the feeling of victim.
Hmm.
When you consider yourself a victim, then you don't look for solution. Then you have accepted morbid way of lifestyle. Oh, I am suffering.
Hmm.
And I don't want to do that. I also do not want to accuse others of my situation or pass the buck to somebody else. Whatever it is, I must walk through it
Yeah.
and walk through it with face up.
Yeah. Very encouraging. All right. Let's move on to something little bit controversial. That's always um, attached with Man and Sheila. So our
It's normal.
okay, our sexuality is attached to our ego. Sexuality guided by ego and domination becomes offensive for both parties. One must have the courage to say no in all relationship, in all situation. You must express yourself and say no if you do not wish to participate in sexual activity with your partner. It is your right to deny it. Compromise will only make things worse for you and partner. Such compromises can bring deep depression, anger, and hate because you're going against your instinct and intuition. So, and it applies to not only sex, but also the same principle with regards to your feelings as well. But this like society is like, say, supposing if you are in a relationship, so you'll have to please the other partner, and whether it is just to make peace and harmony in your house. So, how do you deal with all those things? Yeah.
By tolerating things that don't function, you are automatically destroying your peace and harmony.
Okay.
To have peace and harmony, you have to begin with yourself. And you can only be in peace and harmony when you don't feel your feelings are being violated or your feelings are being ignored, or you are doing that as a victim to maintain the outer peace in the household.
Mm.
So peace and quiet begins from the self, and then it reflects on the others. It may be difficult. Your partner may not accept it, but then one has to say, too bad. But I am not going to compromise because freedom is my first fundamental right. And one should be able to exercise free life freedom in one's daily lifestyle.
Okay. Every single day.
Every single moment.
Okay. So, what you say is that make new mistakes every day instead of repeating the same mistake. So, like, no one gets punished or even fired for making mistakes. Instead, I make sure to help my team resolve those mistakes. As my father used to say, every mistake can be a stepping stone for a new understanding. My mantra for my team is to make new mistakes every day instead of repeating the same mistakes. So it is also, this can also be helpful in a corporate world as well, right?
It has to,
Okay.
because what is in corporate world, you have number of people who are board of directors or in higher position of CEOs. They each have their egos sky high.
Exactly.
And they think they are the picture of perfection. And it is their God-given right to look down upon the team who supports their sky-high ego.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, it is the team's efforts that you are a CEO. If you have no team, you don't need to be a CEO.
That's correct.
So you must respect the team. and recognize they are doing menial work for you to make you look good. And if you don't take care of your team, how are you going to take care of your company?
That's correct.
Your company is offering an opportunity for you to become rich. Equally, it is your team is helping you at a much lower level of income so that you can become rich. So please, if you are in position of guiding people, if you are in position of management, then bear in mind, first think of your team, then think of yourself.
That's correct. So I have a question, Anand Sheela. Like, supposing you have a boss and he's very controlling, and obviously you could report to him, you have to do what he says. So how do you deal with that situation? If he's very controlling and very micromanaging, so how to deal with that?
It is necessary for the growth of the company that your boss, I put it in inverted commas, your boss has the responsibility of running a company, making sure that your products, whatever they may be, are properly presented, properly produced, and all that goes in maintenance of a growth of the company. Some people may manipulate their power
Yeah.
with their micro management to show that they are the authority because they are unsure of themselves. If they were sure that their team functions well, then they need not micromanagement. So it shows the team, the weakness of the boss, and then there will be more problems. So instead of going after micromanagement, go with a little bit of trust towards your team.
Yeah.
You will have better results.
Yeah. So, okay. I just want to ask you one more thing. Like, never forget your roots. What should we do to not forget our roots? See, we basically belong to the Indian subcontinent, but we either come to US or Switzerland or any part of the world. So, but we should never forget our roots. And then the kids are born here, and we should also teach them the culture and all. So, what should we do so that we should never forget our roots, according to you?
You don't forget where you come from. If you forget, then you were never there. Many people I have seen are so charmed by the Western world that they imitate. And their imitation is so laughable and obvious that they become a laughing stock. And what is wrong with the roots we come from? Remembering where you come from will help you solve many conflicts. If you may be a big CEO and you remember your roots, then you will have sympathy towards your team who comes from poorer background. You will develop a compassion in you. Instead, you go for arrogance, and arrogance will destroy you. So for me, I'm proud of my roots. I say, yeah, I was born in India.
Yeah.
I studied in USA. And now I'm enjoying Switzerland. And I take good qualities from all three and ornate myself with all these three places quality. So to answer your question, it is impossible to remember where you come from. Yeah, you move from one culture to another. But when we are born in India, lived in India for a few years, we don't forget our parents and we don't forget dal and rice.
Like I have seen some people, right, oh, I haven't gone to India for 13 years, and they have, married some Westerners, and, like, oh, this India is so dirty, India is so backward. I said, you came from, some people, they feel proud in, talking negative about India. Like, what do you say about them? I get really annoyed.
These people who talk negative about India or any other place, they talk negative about themselves. I went to India after 35 years for reasons of my own that I had not opportunity to return back. And I noticed the dirtiness of Indian cities. And my first thought, what can I do to help to clean up India?
Yeah.
That was my first thing, not that, oh, India is so dirty and I don't have to come here.
Exactly. Very true.
How can I help to draw my attention to this dirt, this filth? I came up with a little idea. I spoke about it also to the audience that was interviewing me. And I said, if we all take 5 or 10 minutes of our time from our telephones and computers,
Very true.
go out on the street of the building with an empty plastic bag and pick up whatever filth you see. We can clean up this land very quickly. Of course, nobody has accepted this. But when I get down to concrete idea, I'll make sure that we do something about it.
Yeah, we can do it together. You can also involve me as well if you have some ideas.
Thank you, Anamika. I will do so.
Okay.
I will do so.
Okay. All right. So I have this one thing that you had written. I really liked it. I am who I am, fully comfortable in my skin. That is what is important to me. I do not need anyone's approval of my character, not from Bhagwan, his people, or the media. The question is not how I deal with it, but how they live with it. Just to assassinate someone's character without knowing the truth is unfair. As for me, I remain untouched by it. I have learned and I continue to learn every day of my life. So, you will always hear like people assassinating your character behind your back. And so you are saying that sometimes you get worried, but most of the time you shouldn't be getting worried. You know who you are.
That's right. I don't get worried.
Mm-hmm.
I have come to a point that what others' criticism of me is equivalent to their praises of me. Their praises don't have any value, and their criticism also have no value, because I know who you are. And I like to live with myself. I am my best friend. If I make a mistake, I reflect and correct it. I pay attention to myself. I don't need anyone else's attention.
So one thing
I don't.
yeah, if you are like very independent and you should you should enjoy your own company, don't you think that sometime down the line you may feel loneliness, and then you need a company, and somewhere you have that is when you have to compromise. What is this, like, what is the balance between individuality and companionship?
Individuality is your inner character and strength. When you feel that you are an individual and you exercise your freedom of who you are, you don't feel lonely.
Oh, okay.
But if you pretend to be an individual to please and maintain the peace, then you will feel lonely, because you become dependent on others' approval.
That's correct.
We don't require approval. And as long as you require approval of your person, you're going to be unhappy. Because people who want to say, you are wonderful, they are saying from their perspective, not from your perspective.
Mm, exactly.
It is their projection on you. And when somebody projects on you, they disrespect you as an individual. So it is very, very important to know yourself and don't pretend to be what you are not.
Definitely. It creates more stress.
Right.
So I just want to ask one thing, like, you always say that you have love for Osho. So, but then you were also married to Chinmaya. So which love was greater?
Oh, I was married not just to Chinmaya,
Ah,
I was married to Deepo,
okay,
and I had few other lovers too.
okay.
Love does not negate the other lovers. It is our habit of possession that negates the other lover.
So, but the society doesn't accept that you can have multiple lovers.
Exactly, exactly. And
It's like,
that's
oh,
where I say to the world,
uh,
uh, I don't need your help in picking out my lovers or how I live my love life. It's my personal thing,
yeah.
and I do it.
Hmm.
And for now, so many years, I live without a lover. And I have no need for lover because I have had so many of them.
That's true. That's true. I know. So, one thing I just want to ask, like, see, you said that Osho's teaching really helped you in the darker days, and then
Yes.
it was you got the dark days because of Osho. So, how do you do you have any negative feelings, or how do you deal with it? Like, because of some person, you are in a dark day, but that dark days is helping you because of the teachings of that person. So, how do you say that? Yeah.
That only says, I thank Bhagwan
Mm.
for both dark days and his teachings. You learn much easier when you are in crisis.
Okay.
And everybody avoids crisis.
Yeah. Everybody avoid crisis, and they are just running away from their own self to avoid crisis.
Right. And Bhagwan created a situation for me where I had to walk through it or go broke in it. But I proved his teaching 100% valuable by walking through it.
Yeah.
So it is a tribute to Bhagwan and his teachings that I was able to walk through the dark days.
All right, Manshila, like before we end the show, I want you to tell at least two teachings of Osho that has really affected your life. Top two or top three, however you want, so that our viewers also can be benefited, and including me. Mm.
One important lesson: choice is ours. I tell you a beautiful story. I often remember that Bhagwan had introduced to me. A samurai goes to a Zen master. He was a big samurai. And he says to Zen Master, show me the gates of heaven so I can enter, and show me the gates of hell so I can avoid. Instead of giving an answer, Zen Master started screaming at samurai with verbal abuse. And then the samurai pulls his sword out of his sheath, and Zen Master says, here open the gates of hell. He was an intelligent samurai. He puts his sword back in his sheath. And Zen Master says, here opens the gates of heaven. Choice is our, what we choose. If we choose misery, then gates of hell. If we choose love, trust, respect, gates of heaven. If you choose anger, you have lost it. There's no possibility to think of the doors of heaven and hell. But if you choose understanding, then gates of friendship opens, gates of heaven opens. So today I say this one story can revolutionize your being, your life, your lifestyle. And we can end it here today.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Anand Sheela. And I really enjoyed this session. And good luck and have a nice day.
You too. I enjoyed it also very much, this session, because it gives many keys for people to look within themselves and reflect.
Okay.
Thank you, Anamika, and I hope you have great reviews for your podcast.
Okay, bye.
I'm going to log out.
Yeah.